Hey guys, so these are our notes starting with probability. Now there are a few like vocab terms and just like concepts that I'd like to talk about first before we actually start getting into identifying like sample and outcomes. So the first one is an experiment, which is an investigation or procedure with varying results. Oh my gosh, I forgot the Y in there. Varying results. So an example would be rolling a die. When you roll a die, you could get a 1, you can get a 2, you can get a 3. Your outcome is different every single time. An outcome is a possible result from the experiment. So an example, when rolling a die, you could get 4. A sample space is the set of all possible outcomes. A lot of times you'll see these sets written in between like fancy like squiggly brackets. When we roll a die, all the possible outcomes that we could get are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And end with another squiggly. Oh, that first one looks so good. That second one looks really bad. Let's fix that. That still looks bad. All right, an event is a certain desired outcome. So, for example, wanting to roll an odd number. And then favorable outcomes, or all of the outcomes of an event. So for example, if I wanted to get odd numbers, you can get 1, not 2, 3, and 5. These look so bad. So my first like squigglies look pretty good. The second ones I need to work on. Okay. Well, we'll see how those continue on throughout the rest of this chapter. All right. So identifying outcomes. So a letter from the word basketball is chosen at random. So all of our possible outcomes would be B, A, S, K, E, T, B, A, L, and L. Those are all of the possible outcomes if I were just to pick a letter at random from the word basketball. Now on the side there, A, B, C, and D, we just have to list all of the favorable outcomes for those given events. So A says choosing K. What are all of the possible outcomes for choosing K? And that's just K. For not choosing B, so we want to look at all of the possible outcomes for not choosing B. Or we could get A, S, K, E, T, another A, L, and another L. Choosing a T or an L. Well, we can get T, we could get L, but there's 2 L's, so we can get, there's 2 L's in there. And then choosing a vowel. So just in case you guys don't know, a vowel is A, E, I, O, or U. Well, in there we have an A, E, and an A. And there we go. All of the possible outcomes from just choosing out a letter from the word basketball. Number 2, the spinner to the left is spun once. List all of the possible outcomes. Well, the possible outcomes here are just all of the little numbers around the spinner. So we could have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, my favorable outcomes of spinning an even number. So I'm just going to list all of the even numbers from my possible outcomes here. I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Spinning a number greater than 10. Well, for this one, there are only 2 numbers greater than 10 in my possible outcomes, and that's 11 and 12. Spinning a number that is at most 5. When we say at most 5, that means 5 is the highest possible number that we can get. So I want 5 and below as my favorable outcomes. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then D says spinning a prime number. So my prime numbers are numbers that are only divisible by 1 and itself. So 1 does not count as a prime number, but 2 does, 3, 4 can be 2 times 2 as well, so that one doesn't count. 5, 6 can be 2 times 3, so not that one. 7, 8 can be 2 times 4, so not that one. 9 can be 3 times 3, not that one. 10 can be 2 times 5, not that one. 11, and then 12 can be 2 times 6, so not that one. And there we go. We got all of our possible outcomes. All right, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, and we got a little bit more. Number 3, a month of the year is chosen at random. List the possible outcomes. All right, so we're going to list out all of our months now. We're going to have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Oh my gosh, I forgot about October. October, November, and December. All right, choosing a month that starts with the letter A. Well, we got April here and we got August. April, August. Choosing a month that starts with J or S. J or S. All right, so let's see here. I got January, June. Oh, can I not mark June? June, July, September. That's it. January, June, July, Sept. Choosing month with no more than 30 days. Does anyone know like the fancy rule for finding out which ones are 30 days? Or no more than 30 days, so the ones that are 30 days or less. It's every other. So it'll be February, April, June, September, and November. February, April, June, September, and November. All right, so getting the favorable outcomes here. The spinner below is spun once. How many possible outcomes are there? So how many possible outcomes are there? Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible outcomes. Give the number of favorable outcomes for each event. So spinning green. So looking on here, I see green once. Keep going up. I see it twice. So we have 2 favorable outcomes there. All right. B says not spinning red. All right, so this is not red, 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 not red. How many times is that though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Spinning yellow or blue? So I see yellow, I see blue, yellow, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then D says spinning green and red. So that means on one spin, you would get green, but you would also get red. Well, that's impossible. That one's going to be at 0. Big 0. All right, the bag contains 50 lottery balls, numbered 1 through 50. A ball is chosen at random. How many possible outcomes are there? Well, they said that there's 50 lottery balls in there, so we know that we have 50 outcomes. So now we have to go and pick the favorable outcomes with that information. So choosing a number less than 14. Well, if they're numbered 1 through 50, since it's less than 14, 14 will not be included. That means there will be 13 numbers that are less than 14. Choosing a number divisible by 3. Oof. So what we could do is take 50, divide it by 3. Where's my handy dandy calculator here? I'll do 50 divided by 3, which we get 16 point blah, 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 blah. So that means there are 16 numbers that are divisible by 3. There's my answer. Choosing a perfect square. I'm not sure if you guys know what perfect squares are. So that would be like 1 squared, or 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So that's a perfect squared. 2 squared, or 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. I knew that one. And we can keep going, blah, 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 blah. 7 is equal to 7 times 7, which is 49. And then 8 would be 8, that's an 8, times 8, which is 64. Oof, the cutoff. So we got 7 numbers that have a perfect square. And then finally, the last one here. Choosing a number that is odd and at least 21. At least 21. That means the lowest number is going to be 21. So we want to look from 21 all the way down to 50, how many odd numbers there are. Well, I know from this number to this number, there are 30 numbers in between there. If I do 50 minus 20, I get 30. And half of those have to be odd numbers, because it goes every other. So I know that there are 15 numbers that are odd and at least 21 here. All right, number 6. John's piggy bank contains 12 pennies, 9 nickels, 23 dimes, and 16 quarters. If John chooses 1 coin at random, how many possible outcomes are there? Well, I can take the number of each number of coin and add them together. So I'd have 12, 9, 23, and 16. I would add all those guys together, and we get that there are 60 possible outcomes. So given that, we want to know, all right, how many of those ones, if we choose, would be a dime? Well, it says it right here in the problem, there are 23 dimes, so I know it's 23. Choosing a nickel or a penny. Also, I can take my number of nickels and my number of pennies and add those guys together. We can get 21. Choosing a silver coin. Well, the ones that will be silver would be the nickels, the dimes, and the quarters. So I could add 9, 23, and 16. Or you could take your 60 and subtract 12 from it. No matter what, you get 48 in the end. And then finally, D, choosing a coin worth at most 10 cents. So at most 10 cents, that means we want to count the dimes, the nickels, and the pennies, because the highest amount should be 10 cents. So again, you could do 12 plus 9 plus 23, or you can once again take your 60 and subtract 16 from it. Both ways you would get 44 possible outcomes. All right, on Schoology, there is a worksheet practicing this of finding the number of favorable outcomes and the number of total outcomes. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay.